Once, the duty of royalty was to be seen from a distance.
Is that your picture?
Yes, she done it.
It's very nice.
But modern monarchy involves meeting ordinary people. Thousands of them, every year.
Where did you find them?
The people demand and expect it.
Hello, Your Majesty. Glad to see you again. I have some photographs for you.
The Queen has been public property since birth, and for the monarchy to survive in the modern world, nothing is more important than the bond between the Queen and us.
Gosh, it must be 8, 9 years now since I've been here.
Pearl Mitchell from Northern Ireland and her partner Jerry have come to London to see the Queen. Pearl has an invitation to a royal garden party in recognition of her local charity work.
Imagine not taking a taxi from the tube station.
5 minutes walk.
You're so tight.
A royal invitation is a good excuse for a new outfit. Pearl has spent more than £200 on her hat alone.
I had trouble with a hat, but I did eventually find what I feel is the perfect hat for this outfit. I'll put it with the outfit for you so you can see what I mean. I think it's amazing with the...
Well, the hat's lovely and there's enough room under for two of us. Keep it. It's like a parasol. So.
A devil. He's a devil. Yes, well, anyway. So I've told my daughter if she ever gets married that this is the hat I'm going to wear. I don't think I'd ever buy another hat quite like this one again.
Right, so first is which way round does it go?
There's a new hat too for Anne Green from Staffordshire. She's also on her way to the palace.
It's not really her.
I think she looks great. Yeah, really good.
Thank you. Good. Well, it's just as well, because this is what I'm wearing.
Both Anne and her colleague, Margaret Revy, have been invited to the garden party because of their work for the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy. Margaret, too, is making an extra effort. She's treated herself to a morning at one of London's beauty salons.
I wouldn't say I'm a card-carrying, flag-waving monarchist, but I have a great deal of respect for the Queen. I think through her whole life she has lived with integrity.
Only a few guests will get to talk to the Queen.
I didn't in my wildest dreams imagine that she would speak to me, but that would be the icing on the cake.
In a basement at Buckingham Palace, a team has been working for months on invitations for the annual summer garden parties, a palace tradition since the 1860s. Every year, the Queen hosts at least 4 of these, 3 in London and 1 in Scotland. Up to 40,000 people from all walks of life are invited.
Well, we are the garden party ladies. I'm supposed to be in charge. And it's my job to just really try and keep the whole thing moving. We've got Mary here, who's actually writing the invitations from a list. So she's doing that. Over here, this is be a different list. I think it's the local government list. Down at the end, the very end, Fiona and Jane, they're packing the envelopes with security notices, parking permits and the like. And Regina is, I think she's just writing some invitations at the moment.
Every invitation is handwritten.
And one's very aware when you're writing it that somebody might want to keep it, and therefore, you know, you don't want to send out one that doesn't look quite perfect. So, no, I think people must be thrilled, and I think they're fairly... I mean, it must be lovely to get one through the post, I would imagine.
The Lord Chamberlain is commanded, it's not just asked, is commanded by Her Majesty to invite Mrs. Anne Green to a garden party at Buckingham Palace.
They're not terribly famous people. This is really a thank you to other people who sort of do much more unsung work, if you like. It's rather nice that people who have done 35 years of school dinners or lollipop ladies, you know, do actually eventually get somebody say, oh, you know, why not send them along?
Today's garden party is taking place in a sweltering 90 degrees, and nearly 8,000 members of the public have been invited. Before it starts, the Queen meets a team from St John Ambulance who will be on duty.
So have you done garden parties before? I think last time Last week there were 37 casualties, wasn't it?
Yes, 37. 37.
You may be busy.
37 treatment, shall we say, as opposed
Yes.
to casualties.
But people come so unsuitably dressed, that's the other thing. They're probably frizzled by the time they get. But one gets to know what sort of people need, don't you? I noticed that the last twice they've all gone that side to sit in the shade.
Yes, yes indeed, yes.
And the lawn's have been rather empty.
They're more and more at the front gate now, isn't it?
Yes,
Since when it's
indeed.
hot, they
Yes.
begin to have trouble there.
Yes, they
whilst
come
the
too
queues are
early,
building
you
up,
see,
yeah.
don't they? And then they arrive boiling hot and exhausted.
Yes. And the new shoes, of course.
Well, that's
Always
another
new
hazard.
shoes.
isn't it?
Pearl and Jerry have arrived at the palace early to make the most of every minute. So has everyone else.
There you go. There's a queue. I can see people right round the far side where the gate is. A good half hour before you get in.
Yeah, it'll be about half an hour before we get in.
With 8,000 guests, the outside caterers have brought more than 200 staff, including 30 chefs. Half a ton of sandwiches will be consumed, along with 8,000 glasses of juice and 11,000 cups of the Queen's special blend of garden party tea.
And Tom, man, you met the other day.
Yes. I think people were very glad to get in here.
Yes, I should think so.
So that makes it a bit difficult working, doesn't it?
A little bit, a little bit.
I mean, they
We
all
get
come
by.
in at once.
They do.
They rush in.
The tea tent houses what is at 400 feet, probably the longest counter in Britain.
Well, I've done a good deal of asking what the tea is like, and I get very positive answers, so that's nice.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, not at the moment. I've just had lunch.
Nearby at St James's Palace, the yeomen of the guard are preparing for duties. Arguably the oldest military corps in the world, they've been protecting monarchs since Henry VII. Their Tudor uniform has hardly changed since.
We're not beefeaters at all. We're far from being beefeaters. Because beefeaters are wardens at the Tower of London and we're bodyguards.
At garden parties, they make sure that the Queen is not crowded by her guests.
All right, gentlemen, pay attention.
In charge is Messenger Sergeant Major Bill Davis, and he is not a happy man.
Our last garden party, we were let down, inasmuch that there were very attractive ladies present. So consequently, you started staring, leering, ogling, and you lost your concentration while we were on parade. So should there be any attractive ladies here today, yes, by all means have a look, but do not turn your heads and concentrate on what we're doing. All right?
During her reign, the Queen has had 2 million people to tea. Like so many before them, Anne and Margaret want to see inside the palace.
I kind of thought we'd go straight into the garden, not through into the building.
Oh, this is, yeah.
What do you think is her bedroom? Remember the guy who climbed into her bedroom? How would he have known which one to get into?
Yeah. I don't know. No, this is like, oh, wow.
The staircase, you think you'll sort of drift down in your ball gown.
Fantasy. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. No, this is definitely what I expected.
This golden
Grandeur. Here we are, invited guests of the Queen, walking out the door. Hi, isn't this
beefeaters too.
Isn't this amazing?
Beefeaters. A great spot for barbecue.
Oh, Anne.
I don't even turn around because you'll fall over and you get dizzy.
No, I won't fall over. No, I just want to take it in. You know, I'm not likely to maybe come again. Beautiful.
After choosing her outfit with such care, Pearl is faced with every woman's fashion nightmare.
Lady in the same dress. Yes, she is in the same dress. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that. Well, that makes for a little bit of interesting, doesn't it? I'm glad she's not tall and willowy.
The Queen will be here on the stroke of 4 o'clock. The yeomen take up their positions.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, back behind the line of yeomen, please. Right the way back. Her Majesty's going to go down through there.
Their task today is to mark out routes through the crowd that will allow the Queen and other members of the royal family to stroll and chat with selected guests.
So if you like to get a good spot now, rather than me throw you off.
The hot weather brings a lot of distractions for the yeomen. They do their best to obey the command, not to lose focus.
Hello,
Tina.
nice to meet
Yes,
you.
it's the north of England.
Senior Gentleman Usher, Rear Admiral Colin Cook-Priest, is selecting 100 guests or so for an introduction to the Queen.
And we basically move down the lanes and try and find interesting people to introduce to Her Majesty. By and large, we look for those who've contributed to society, but who perhaps have never had an opportunity to meet the Queen.
Wow, why are all these people all lined the whole way? Now, is this where the Queen's going to walk down through?
Could be.
Yeah? I wouldn't want to shake her hand. My hand's sticky at this stage.
Still wearing gloves.
Oh, yes, of course.
Adrian to Emma Anderson, are you ready to do the ropes and poles?
If you can't meet the Queen, there is the consolation of a slap-up tea.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to the right of the ropes and poles and then move along the buffet. Thank you very much.
All guests can pick whatever they like from a selection of scones, sandwiches and cake. The only alcohol served is inside the Balmoral whiskey cake. On a hot day, extra supplies of ice cream are brought in.
How are we doing for time then?
5:10.
I imagine she'll always be punctual. Could you imagine that they're sort of in there thinking, oh, I've got to put my shoes on now. 4 o'clock.
Is
we're
my
going to
hat
have
on
to
straight,
go.
Phil?
Is my hat on? Yeah. And, you know, will we get back in time for the archers?
Pearl doesn't know it, but she's already been singled out to meet the Queen.
Now, I've been asked who should be presented to the Queen, so I need to take the details. Now, who is actually, therefore, you'll probably be presented first, and then you second. That's the way it is.
OK. Oh, this is wonderful. Pearl Mitchell.
And it's Miss?
Ms. MS.
Well, I'll
Yes.
put OK. The Queen doesn't recognise.
Oh, right,
Mrs.
OK. Oh, right, OK.
But it's, and you are, what do you do?
I am chairperson of Cruise Bereavement Care.
OK, so
Okay.
the
It's a
organisation is
charity,
called
yes, Cruise Bereavement Care.
Would you like to come with
Yes,
me?
of course. Delighted.
It could take some while, depending on who's in front of you. You're in the lane now. Nobody's going to shoo you out because I brought you in, OK?
OK.
So I will come back to you.
Just stand here.
Yes, thank you.
This is absolutely amazing that we are actually going to be presented to the Queen. I can't believe it.
A system of hat doffing by the attendants gives the signal that the Queen is on her way.
Oh, gosh. Look, this is really it.
Is she coming?
There she is. And she's wearing green.
Oh, look. She's going to come around the steps now.
The £130,000 bill for today's party works out at £17 a head. It'll be paid from the civil list, the Queen's state funds for her official duties.
Oh, I felt quite emotional.
With so many guests, it'll take the Queen more than an hour to move across her own back lawn. Now that Pearl and Jerry are to be introduced to the Queen, they're briefed on the traditional do's and don'ts of royal protocol.
The bit I do before I introduce them to Lord Chamberlain, I always brief them. A little jig of the knees is fine, the merest nod of the head, no more than that. And what, in formal terms, is the way she should be introduced, i.e. Your Majesty, first off, and then ma'am, as in jam. But I always say, if you've got the wrong teeth in, stick with ma'am, it's much easier and it's perfectly all right.
See if we can see the Queen.
We're standing 10 deep,
Quite
though.
deep, aren't they? Yes.
If you're not chosen to meet the Queen, all you can do is crane your neck and hope for a glimpse.
This is when you wish you'd brought your stool.
Yes. I've spotted her. I've spotted her.
Where?
Green parasol.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, good.
I can't quite tell. Oh, yes, I think I can see her now. Oh, my word, she does talk to you for a little while, doesn't she? So, she does seem to talk for a little while. Oh, my word. Oh, she's getting closer now, Jerry. Oh, I think I'll have a wee nervous breakdown. I need time. Okay.
Your Majesty, may I present Pearl Mitchell and Mr. Gerald Crawford from Northern Ireland, and Pearl Mitchell looks after the cruise bereavement care in Northern Ireland. It's your patron,
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm the chairperson of the Causeway branch, which is right up on the north coast.
Yes.
So it's a very busy office and area. So we have a lot of, we have 3,000 hours of volunteer hours last year.
Really? That's
Yes,
tremendous.
yes, it's great work.
I'm getting a really good view of her now.
That's very lucky, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And what are you enrolled in?
I'm just along here as a friend.
Are you? Yes.
And we're delighted, we're very honoured to be here. It's,
There probably were quite a few from Northern Ireland today.
I think there are a few, yes, there are a few, but this is a particular honour for us.
Well,
Yes.
I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the party.
Oh, yes, we will. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, isn't that just lovely? You know, I thought, oh God, am I going to get tongue-tied or what? But no, it was really, she was easy, you know, really easy to talk to. And she led the questions, so there was no problem. And she was very interested in cruise. Her skin is like porcelain, you know, she's fine looking woman.
After an hour on the lawns meeting the chosen guests, the Queen retreats to the royal tent for a cup of tea. She will then circulate in a special VIP area for politicians and diplomats. As the Queen predicted, in a hot summer, the Red Cross tent is always busy.
We've treated about 30 people. We've had a lot of people with new shoes and the plasters that we have to provide for blisters and things like that. Clearly, most people come because they want to try and see the Queen and the royal family. Good to hear.
See the Queen? Yeah, oh, yes. As near to her as your cameraman.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Was worth the wait.
She's the same age, born on the same day.
Same day as the Queen, you see. Brilliant.
Well, I've really enjoyed seeing the outfits. I've only seen one double outfit, which is white with blue spots on.
It hasn't been great people watching.
It's been wonderful.
And just take a last look because you might never see it again. That's amazing.
I wonder what day will top this, Jerry.
Oh, I don't know, think of one.
You can think of
What
one.
will Louise is doing that day?
Each year, the palace receives thousands of invitations from all over the country. The Queen tries to visit the average county at least once every 5 years. For many of these tours, she takes the royal train. Today, it's the turn of East Sussex. Waiting at Brighton station is Phillida Stewart-Roberts. She is the Lord Lieutenant, the Queen's county representative, and has arranged the visit.
Morning, Your Majesty. It's an enormous pleasure to welcome you here. Thank you so much for it. It took us hours. Oh, did it? Well, it does on the ordinary train, I can tell you.
It's only about 50 minutes, isn't it?
Yes, it should take much longer than that and is often late.
The Queen has a full morning of events in Brighton. This is the day job of royalty, and there are dozens of bouquets to collect and hands to shake along the way. At the request of the palace, the programme is not confined to local landmarks. The suburb of Whitehawk has never welcomed a Queen, until today. A new children's centre has opened there. Some see visits like this as a royal attempt to connect with all levels of British society.
Whitehawk is historically a very deprived area. It is getting better, but I'm afraid that the problems that exist there has meant that an enormous amount of work is being put into making a better life for people. And the Children's Roundabout Centre is one of those examples.
For their part, the young mothers at the Children's Centre are surprised that the Queen is coming to see a community like Whitehawk.
It's got an awful reputation. We're all tarred with the same brush. You come from Whitehawk, you're the lower class.
It is quite weird for her to sort of come down to this sort of kind of area, you know. But I will say that they have spruced up the area a lot more because she's coming down, which probably wouldn't have happened if she wasn't.
Things are getting done in Whitehawk that wouldn't normally get done. When if the Queen wasn't coming, it'd just be left. And I just think that's a bit off, really.
I imagine she probably gets a bit bored seeing lots of faces. Most people here wouldn't really mean anything to her. She's just another face of the crowd. She's not going to remember it like I will, so...
The Queen meets so many people. It must be really hard to concentrate when you're being introduced to person after person. There can only be a significant few that actually stand out.
Sharon and Sally are 2 of 30 mothers waiting for the Queen's arrival.
Present Helen
Must be quite energetic. You come here quite often.
I come to the group on Monday, they have it on Wednesday, on a morning or in the afternoon, so I've got 2 of them, so it's quite good for me to get rid of a little bit of energy before the 3rd one comes.
Quite soon,
June, end of June, so probably the 3rd boy. Wouldn't it be?
It's going to be quite a party, isn't it?
Yes.
They seem to do each other much harm.
It's a real contrast with the formality with which the Queen is usually treated.
There she goes.
Didn't really come to much, did it? But obviously we knew she was just going to come in and have a look around and go back out. But... no.
The children have prepared an art project for the Queen to take home.
Thank you so much. I mean, you've no idea. Well, no, I'm sure you have every idea how absolutely wonderful it's been.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very,
lovely day.
very much.
Very
for
lucky
coming.
with the weather. Thank you
Yes,
very
that
much.
was perfect. Thank you so much. By the end of the day, if we can feel that everybody has enjoyed whatever moment they had, first of all with the Queen, but the Queen being able to see the way life works, meeting people who do great things, very often at a level where they're not usually noticed very much. That's the success of it.
On the royal train, Assistant Private Secretary Edward Young arrives with the Queen's paperwork.
Are you going to have tea or are you going to...
Not tea.
What? Then she is. I'm sure there's another tunnel.
But first, she wants a good look at the children's artwork.
I was actually rather amused by this.
Yes,
it's a frightfully good idea.
Yes, the hats.
But there's this usual thing of why wasn't I wearing a crown, you see?
Oh, yes.
You have to say, well, it's too heavy to travel with them. I think that's rather fun, too. Very inventive children, aren't they?
It's quite astonishing. No one could work out what the boy said outside the library when he was very keen on taking the flowers. I think just as you came out of the library.
No, because I had a couple in my hand. He hadn't got one, you see. I think he thought that it was for them. So he just took it, went away. It's sweet. No, doesn't often happen.
Wherever the Queen goes, so does the red box. It's usually full of official documents for approval or signature.
It's very interesting. You put your things in the box back front, like a different way than I do.
The Queen will have plenty of reading material while the royal train makes its way slowly back to Windsor. Since childhood, the Queen has been opening things. It's part of royal life. Arsenal Football Club has recently moved into a new multi-million-pound stadium. Today, the Queen is due. Club director Ken Fryer has been planning the official visit for over a year. The royal party will not leave empty-handed.
I think one of the staff thought about it, and it was another good idea, so we've gone ahead with it.
Is he an Arsenal fan?
hopefully will be after today, presented to Her Majesty the Queen by the directors of Arsenal Football Club on the opening of Emirates Stadium, 26th of October 2006. It's quite nice, isn't it? The Queen and Prince Philip will be asked to sign the guest book, and the guest book goes back to 1932, which is rather a priceless heirloom, so to speak. And the coincidental part is that when the stadium was opened in 1932, it was signed by Edward, that eventually became king and abdicated. We've got the King of Norway's in here several times. We have people like Harold Lloyd of California, Lady Spencer Churchill, I can remember. And there's lots and lots of good signatures. Today's page is there, and that is a very special page in the book. Yes, it's a great day in the history of the club, isn't it? We've had some historic days, but there's none more so than today. So yes, it's something we're all very proud of, and the staff are as excited as school children going on an outing.
You excited?
Yes.
With only a few hours to go before the opening ceremony, Ken is confident that every detail has been checked and double-checked.
I think the only thing we've perhaps not covered is the Queen changing her mind and not turning up. Other than that, I think we're pretty confident, yes. Hello. Hi, Shelley. That's Buckingham Palace. I don't know what they want.
Everything okay?
Don't know. They said, would I ring him, but I don't have the number in this phone. So, Robin. Right. Well, I'm extremely sorry to hear that, but obviously we have to understand. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Bye-bye. The Queen is not coming. The Queen's injured her back, and she will not be coming. Very down, very disappointed. Oh, Christ. But, disappointing, isn't it?
Palace staff can recall just 5 occasions in 20 years when the Queen has cancelled at the last minute.
That's it, John. The Buckingham Palace releasing the news at midday, so we...
It's at 10 minutes.
It's a shame.
But one thing we couldn't cater for. Everything else we've done, but it's like losing a cup final, isn't it?
You know she's not coming, didn't you?
It's also a blow for the younger Arsenal supporters, the junior Gunners, some of whom had won a competition to meet the Queen.
Gutted. Disappointed. Absolutely gutted.
Especially with these children, junior Gunner winners.
So disappointed.
Arsenal chairman Peter Hill-Wood tries to see the bright side. The Palace will be fielding a substitute, Prince Philip.
Well, it's disappointing that the Queen is not coming, but having said that, for Prince Philip to be coming is a pretty major honour for us.
The ceremony goes ahead on schedule, despite the Queen's bad back.
We know about the injuries, and we can understand what happened to her, and we wish her very well and to be fit again very quickly.
Well, I just wanted to say that the Queen asked me to tell you all how very disappointed she is not to be able to come here today. She was much looking forward to it. You will have, on the other hand, second to her, the world's most experienced truck unveiler.
There we are.
Well, I'm very pleased it's gone so well, because it was a great disappointment initially this morning to get that news. But the Duke was absolutely marvellous. You saw the amount of time he spent, and it couldn't have gone better. There's not been one word from anybody about being disappointed. So I think although we were disappointed having put so much in to be where we are now, it has gone really well, and we're very satisfied.
All the royal family performed duties on the Queen's behalf. The Prince of Wales also tours the country meeting members of the public. Today, the royal train brings Prince Charles and Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to Newcastle. His programme includes a visit to a city hospital and a school. He will also pursue his own interests, rural life and organic farming. This is delicate territory politically and crosses into an area that the Queen as monarch might not consider part of her role. But the Prince is an enthusiast, so an organic farm is on the schedule.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute, that. They look like they've got BSE.
I'm an awful person for saying what I'm thinking. It's quite funny sometimes, but when you're talking to me, the future King of England, and I say the wrong thing, I die.
After a tour of the farm, the royal couple are expected to stay for a cup of tea.
This is my tea set, which my husband, it's all right laughing, he is into more gold-plated teacups and saucers and things. I'm not into that. And to me, something like this is more, well, realistic for a family like us. But you see, when I said I was going to serve him tea in this, he says, well, that's not good enough.
It's very exciting, but it's very tiring at the minute. It's, you don't sleep sometimes because of, you know, thinking of what you haven't done, what you have done and things like that. So, yeah, there's a lot to think about. It'll be a massive relief after they're gone, you know. Whew, we're getting away with that. No, it'll be a big relief, you know, because we'll be able to relax again, hopefully.
The Prince will also be visiting a pub 5 miles away to discuss the business side of farming. Tim Morris, the landlord, is hosting the event.
One day, I get a tap on the window. There was no appointment, nothing like that, just a very, very officious lady. And she comes waltzing in, and she starts looking around, you know, just open herself, and she said, "No, it's not very big, is it?" I said, "Sorry, we are just a tiny drovers in." And then we went outside, and I showed her the beer garden, and I said, you know, the views of the national park. And she said, "Oh, that's wonderful." She says, that's where we can put the helicopter.
The field next to the pub will double as a helicopter pad. It required attention.
This was just a normal fence, and we had to have this gate put in, specially made for us, because we didn't want the prospect of Her Royal Highness having to, you know, put a leg over a fence to get to the helicopter that's going to sit there.
The local organisers have handed Tim a seating plan. It's proving to be a headache.
The palace has requested that we can't put the chairs in sort of like theatre rows. They're going to have to be random. I really don't see how this is going to work.
Tim thinks that local farmers, given all their troubles, may be less than diplomatic.
I don't think he's going to have an easy ride. Farmers in this part of the world are having a hard time, and I think it's really going to be quite a healthy debate. It isn't going to be just a one-sided discussion.
At Colin and Michelle's farm, the hour has come.
Here it is. The helicopter.
Here it is.
Oh, yes, here we go.
How on earth we've got to this day, I do not know.
The Prince has pledged to reduce his carbon footprint, but sometimes royal timings demand a helicopter.
There they are.
Oh, yeah, they're there.
That's Charles and Camilla in our field.
Good morning, Your Highness. This is lovely, this. That's fantastic. I know. Northumbrian.
Hello, Your Highness.
This isn't too much of an interruption.
No, it's absolutely wonderful.
Hello, really nice to see you.
Very nice to meet you.
Lovely to
Very
meet you.
nice.
Have you turned on the weather, especially?
I bet it was lovely coming across in the helicopter as well, was it?
Fantastic. You've got the most amazing views to be. Hello.
This is the youngest daughter.
Yeah, so you're still based at home?
Yeah.
You can't get rid of them.
No, no.
Colin risks an anecdote about 2 of his Aberdeen Angus cattle.
There's a story behind these two. The week that you two were getting married, these two were born. And the Aberdeen Angus Society told us that they had to begin with the letter C. So, who was in the paper an awful lot at the time? It was Charles and Camilla.
After the tour, The crockery finally appears. The royal couple and the Andersons sit down for a cup of tea, along with a local farming delegation and members of the press. After a sticky start, perhaps due to the presence of the media, things warm up. Before the royal couple leave, it's time for the farewell gifts. A prime cut of beef and Michelle's homemade sloe gin.
What's that?
I made this slow gin. Yeah, yes.
It'll be nice in your hip flask.
It's been so nice having you. Absolutely great pleasure.
Well, I wish I could have stayed on and come for a nice ride. On
I know, it would be super.
Colin has been saving up a special message for the guest of honour.
And you'll keep chipping in with governments and things to do for those farmers, because you've been doing a fantastic job over the years.
You've no idea what I get up to.
You've been doing a very good job.
I'll tell you, before I dive, even it kills me, because you're so important to this country.
It is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It's really nice to meet people like that who appreciate what we are doing here, basically. All the hard work, I feel, is going to pay off. Definitely. And I think he's behind it.
As might be expected, the princess spent longer than planned at the organic farm. At Tim's pub, everyone is waiting.
What's the time?
You're very late. Christine? 1 minute. There's about right, isn't it? Well, the moment has arrived.
Where's the school? Is it just up there? So have you been allowed out?
Yeah.
And you've got to go back again?
Yeah.
So what have you done this morning?
Thank you very much.
None of your relations?
There's lots of freezing-looking people here sitting out in the sun. Hello. Hello. Hello.
You wait till you go in there, sir. I don't think there's much room for you yourself, actually, to be honest. Now, Your Royal Highness, if you'd like to follow me, I'll take you around the back. And if you head for the bar, this is the photo opportunity. So. Oh, no, this one on the end. Yes, the nail's best. I don't think I'm going to employ you quite yet, sir.
I enjoy people and meeting them and seeing what's going on and finding out how they're managing and what the local situation is.
Yes. Do you feel rather pessimistic about the future then?
There's so much legislation and
it gets
it's
exhausting.
getting quite depressing.
Camilla meets a group from a local charity project which seeks to capture the reality of farming life on camera.
And it was wonderful to photograph. I love this picture of the family because the strength in those children's faces, and that is the future. If any group of people can survive and make it work, it's these guys, really. So that's something to celebrate.
The Duchess and her family are keen country people too.
I mean, I know I've got a son who's a food writer and who's passionate about local produce and promoting it all the time. So.
We're not quite dead yet, and we're not going to go under without...
Some may call it meddling, but if you actually go around the country over and over again, I think it would be criminally negligent not to try and do something to try and assist some of the problems and complications that people are facing.
Goodbye, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
For Tim, it's been worth the disruption.
I really do think the majority of them was quite positive, and it wasn't a waste of time.
At Buckingham Palace, the Queen and her Assistant Private Secretary Edward Young make final plans for her next regional visit, a tour of Bradford and Huddersfield.
The Lieutenancy have been on the phone with just a couple of requests for tomorrow. They're saying that at the start of the visit to the temple, they're asking whether it would be all right to present the garlands at the beginning rather than the end.
Oh, yes, I think that's all right.
And they
can get it over my hat.
Yes. Oh, well, that's true, ma'am. The helicopter's going to nip up to back to Edinburgh Airport to refuel but they don't think it's going to take long. They think it'll only be about a 5 or 10 minute jaunt. So it'll be back by the time you
I can get
come
my
out, if
cup of
that's
tea.
all right. You can get the key ma'am, yes, certainly. But other than that...
And they'll tell us about the weather too.
They will. Well, I'll ask if they can provide enough.
Just behind Buckingham Palace is the Royal Mews. Monarchs have kept horses and carriages here since 1825, and when the car came along, they just built an extension at the back. Today, the Mews is home to the Queen's fleet of 24 cars, including the State Bentley, which will drive the Queen round Yorkshire. Queen's chauffeur, Joe Last, will be at the wheel.
This is a Bentley. It's got the actual Bentley sign on the front, which comes off, and the George and Dragon would then go on. This would only be when Her Majesty's in the vehicle. This is when Her Majesty gets in. She will be uncovered, denotes England, Wales, Northern Ireland. The whole reason of it being more visible and the back and etc. coming off, so Her Majesty can be seen. Her Majesty likes this to be seen by members of the public, etc. when we're travelling around. When we are travelling, we go past school children, we slow down to about 5 miles an hour so Her Majesty can be seen and the children can wave, etc. Then you speed up again, go back to the normal, the road speeds. So when we go on the motorway, doing 70 miles an hour, the standard can be taken down. And then when we get to the end of the motorway, we can put it up before entering a city or a town, etc.
The State Bentley draws up outside a new Hindu temple in Bradford. The Queen of a multi-faith Britain is expected to acknowledge every religious and cultural tradition on her travels. Wherever the Queen visits, it's the hosts who arrange the welcome and lay down the rituals, not the palace. Following Hindu tradition, the Queen has removed her shoes. All royal visits must appeal to as wide a range as possible, but some people travel far and wide to join in. Julia McCarthy-Fox is what some call a royal watcher, and a keen one. She left her Sussex home yesterday to grab a prime position in Bradford today.
This is the most important bit of the day because this is where we need to make a commitment to where we're going to stand. OK, right, think this through logically. You've got to be standing this side of those barriers, so logic says she's going to get out of the car at one end in front of that building.
Julia has followed the Queen all over the world for 23 years and has seen her at least 500 times.
What do you reckon then?
Her mother and son are part of today's team.
She could go round the back there, meet that band, do that thing, start at that end and walk back to the car. Yeah. In which case it wouldn't matter where you were. No. Oh, let's go here. Decision made.
Before the Queen leaves the temple, the obligatory plaque must be unveiled. And there is a gift. In Bradford Town Square, the crowds have gathered.
Here we go, boys and girls. Morning.
Thank you.
You almost sounded surprised that we were here then.
These are from my life.
They are?
Yes.
Well done.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you. It looked a lot nicer yesterday. There's such a lot of work to do.
we had a perfect view in front there. We've got some nice pictures, and she's spoken to us. She's asked about the flowers that she's had. In terms of talking to the Queen, that is a long time that she was standing here in front, so I'm very happy indeed.
Next stop on the schedule is a meal hosted by Huddersfield University. Despite reports that the Queen dislikes spicy food, she's agreed to a Kashmiri curry lunch prepared by well-known local chefs. They will cook with caution.
Some people say that she doesn't like spices. Some says she's had a curry many times before. So I've heard mixed reports, so I don't really know. So what we have done is we've made all the food mild.
Majesty, all this menu is prepared very mild. We have poppadoms, and poppadoms are eaten with the pickles, like we have mango chutney, and then we have the hot starters, lamb kofta and masala fish, which are very popular in this area. These are hot. These two are hot. Would you like to try some of the... And this is a mint.
A bit hot, ma'am.
No, it's not. No, we made it mild. It's all made mild. Trust me. Trust me.
She loved everything, really loved it. She tried all the courses, you know, and desserts, right? I mean, she loved carrot halwa, you know. She kept eating, you know. And I'm really over the moon. I can't explain. I have no words to explain to you.
It's the turn of Huddersfield town centre to stage a royal walkabout. There is music to warm up the crowd. Some don't need encouragement.
I'm putting some bunting up on the barriers for Her Majesty to see.
Stirs me right from the heart, from my front to my backbone. I'm proud of this. Very proud indeed.
Royal fan Julia has rushed from Bradford to see the Queen again. This time, there is competition for front row views.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask for your cooperation. We have lots of tiny, small school children in the square.
Get out of it. What, just because they... Well.
If it's at all possible, if you could allow the children closer to the barriers.
There are children at the front.
Julia won't give up her position willingly.
We don't. Well, they'll have to come and move us then, won't they? Tough.
It's on our way. Here they are. Lovely outfit. I like it. Look at the brooch in the sun. Coming this way. Coming this way. Hello, Your Majesty. Lovely to see you again. I have some photographs for you. Maundy Thursday in Manchester, a very special occasion, and on the steps with the Yeoman of the Guard, and a few of the floral arrangements for you in the cathedral. And warm welcome to Huddersfield on this lovely day. We've been entertained to some wonderful music which you'll enjoy. Land of Hope and Glory, everything. I was in my element now.
Right, Your Majesty. I'm very pleased to meet you, and I do hope you enjoy your dance.
Myself.
Lots of flowers, obviously. Quite a few gifts today as well. A lot of people like to give pictures of the Queen at previous events that she's been to, and then hand them over the next one that they see her at. So that's what quite a few of these are. Very generous crowd today. Take them back, make sure they're registered.
We've been together now for 60 years, and it don't seem a day too long.
5 months after the Queen was unable to open the new Arsenal stadium because of a bad back, she's making amends by inviting the entire team to tea at Buckingham Palace.
Queen will be introduced by Arsene to Thierry. Thierry will then introduce the Queen to the players. Thereafter, there will be a photo opportunity for the press that need it. Just keep our fingers crossed that the Queen turns up.
Arsenal football team come in to have tea in the bowroom here, and the Queen will join that tea at 4:45 till approximately 5:15, 5:30. So it's quite a short sort of time. Paul Wybrew will ask the Queen if she'd like a cup of tea.
For the players, especially those from overseas, this fixture has required a different training session.
Some of us are practicing what we have to say, you know, when she comes to us.
Today they're going to have an English breakfast tea. Normally we would have China, which is Earl Grey, but we thought today they would prefer English breakfast, so that's what we're serving.
My Royal Highness, My Royal Majesty,
It's just pure coincidence it looks like the FA Cup.
Well, the Queen is very nice and is very warm and very polite and interested in people. So I think she will make them feel relaxed and welcome.
We have a selection of cold sandwiches, but we've got Montgomery's cheddar and fig chutney on granary, roast beef and Dijon mustard on unsweetened brioche, smoked salmon and cucumber or tortana crown, whatever tortana crown is.
I've been in the business a year or two now, and I've been very fortunate to do many things, but I would think this must be the highlight.
And then we've got sweet, we've got clotted cream and jam scones, fresh fruit tartlets, gâteau opera, chocolate cake and pistachio macaroons.
It's quite big. Could play a good football match in here.
Either side, anyway.
Arsenal, with their modern superstar status, will come face to face with the British monarchy, whose celebrity dates back more than 10 centuries.
Good afternoon, welcome. Thank you. Good afternoon, welcome.
Do you recognise them all, Philip?
I've got a clue.
Before their meeting with the Queen, the team are given a private tour of the state apartments by Desmond Shaw Taylor, surveyor of the Queen's pictures.
Well, I'm very nervous, because, I mean, I'm not usually doing it for superstars. Just very quickly, please appreciate this staircase. The architect didn't really have that much room to create a grand staircase lengthways, so he created a grand effect by opening this great dome-like skylight above to give this great sort of theatrical effect. And all this is gilding, which at that date, this is 1820, cost £4,000. Let's go on through here now. One of the things that the architect John Nash did was he basically had a series of box-shaped rooms, like any other house, but he tried to make them look almost like a church by putting these kind of domes on them. The great thing about Dutch painting is their depiction of reality, realism, and this is exactly the kind of painting that the French Impressionists looked at. Very exciting. It's extraordinary. I'm trying to remember my words when Thierry Henry is facing me. I'm feeling like a defender, really. The Queen's favourite painting is in this room. This is by Rembrandt, one of the most famous painters ever to have lived.
Thank you. Thank you very much. No, thank you.
I don't like tea, but you had to do it here.
The entrance of the corgis signals the Queen's arrival.
So I hope you've had an interesting tour around.
Absolutely superb.
That's it then.
It's really the one. Julie Batista from Brazil.
From Brazil?
Gilberto Silva from Brazil also. Denilson from Brazil.
Oh, lot of you.
Jens Zeman from Germany.
Oh, you come from Germany.
The Queen has been studying recent results.
And extra time, wasn't it?
She knew that we won the game, and I didn't ask her if she actually watched the game. Manuel Houé from Ivory Coast.
So you have a very international side. But I gather you've said to my private secretary that you all have the best physios.
If you ever want to see him, you're more than welcome.
Well, very kind of you.
Kind of try to not put in your head who you have in front of you, and I guess it went really nice because I mean there's no word to describe what experience the Queen has gave us to come here and visit our house.
Arsenal's gift to the Queen is the club emblem, a cannon similar to one used at Waterloo.
Well, it's not to incite you to make war.
It's quite a day for some of the palace workers too. Royalty is a common sight round here. Not so Thierry Henry.
Would you be happy to just go and talk to some of our...
Very difficult to sum up in just a few words what it meant. You could see from the attitude of the players, what a fantastic day it was for them. If players don't want to do something, they often find ways of doing it. I've got a niggle, I've got a backache. Every single player was here, and they were so excited. A day that every one of us will remember.
Tonight, a Christmas reception is held for what the palace calls achievers, members of the public who've done something extraordinary during the year. The guests are here for any number of reasons: community projects, awards, local good deeds. Zara Phillips is not here as the Queen's granddaughter, but as equestrian world champion. Comedian David Williams is here too. It's not because he's funny or famous. It's to recognise his epic cross-channel swim for charity. David has brought his mother to meet the Queen.
This is the most amazing thing I have ever done with you. Just amazing. It's going into a building that you imagine to be amazing, but it's just more amazing than you can ever imagine.
I'd heard that it was a bit shabby. I'd heard that it was a bit sort of, the carpets were a bit sort of worn, but actually it's stunningly beautiful. And you immediately walk in and you feel you're in the presence of power. And then we're all lined up in a row and waiting our turn. And immediately, I'm getting quite nervous about it, and I've been nervous since this afternoon as well. I was trying to ignore it, and suddenly it hit me where we were going, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to meet the Queen. That is going to be I'm quite scared already. I swam the channel for sport. And I filled her in why I was here, which I thought was a helpful thing to do because there was a long queue of people. She asked me how much money was raised. She asked me if I was covered in lard. I was lard, but it's not as much fun as you think. Yes. She seemed quite charmed in a funny way, didn't she?
She did, actually. I think the idea that you were covered in lard. She did ask you how much you'd raised.
And I said £1 million. And then in my head I was going to say, can you make it 2? It's kind of weird when you meet someone that famous. There's almost a kind of glow around them anyway. And for her especially, because she's an icon. So when you actually see her, you can't quite believe it's really her. And you want to have a good old look at her, really, don't you?
Yes, but she is, she is a beautiful woman. No, she is.
Is she the most beautiful woman you've ever seen in your life?
No, but she is. She is quite stunning for a woman of her age.
The monarchy will endure in the modern age as long as it remains truly popular. It's a commitment the Queen appears to take very seriously, maintaining contact with her public throughout her working year, from prime ministers to tens of thousands of British people from all walks of life, backgrounds and beliefs.
We can all squeeze in the lift. One policeman and the sound man.
Any more acts confirmed for the concert?
No. Just occasionally you remember with a sort of cold sweat how awful you were when you started.
Where's home? I'm allowed. How did you get into this?
At night you'd hear, "We want the Queen, we want the Queen."